Good morning, everyone, and welcome, or good afternoon, rather, here, Central Standard Time in Evanston, Illinois. Welcome to our September strategy session. I hope everyone is doing well, taking care of yourself, getting the rest that you need, and continuing to fight. I'm Robin. For anyone that I haven't met, I represent First Repair. This strategy session is a partnership. Can you hear all the lawn care that's happening? Can you all hear me okay?
We can hear you. We don't have lawn care.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is a partnership. We convene monthly and often more than monthly in closed session as needed by community partners and leaders advancing reparations to provide technical assistance, inspiration, and community more so than anything for those of us doing hyper-local reparations work nationally. We are in partnership with the Thurgood Marshall Law Center, Civil Rights Center, the International Center for Transitional Justice, First Repair is a convener, the African American Redress Network, and we have others that partner with us when they have special events or pressing matters. So thank you for being here. We usually start right now with updates from our partners, and I'll start with updates from First Repair. Our national symposium is December 3rd through the 5th. Who has registered? I've registered. Anybody else with an emoji?
I'm behind, but I want to register immediately.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, well, it looks like Davita and I will be there and the rest of the First Repair. Okay, we have Joel will be there. Nice. And some others will be there. We've already had dozens of folks register. So this group is who we want to make sure registers. Many of you are likely going to be invited to be sponsored guests. I don't know if those invitations have gone out just yet, but we set aside sponsorship for our leaders that participate in these strategy sessions that have been engaged. So do check your inbox for that. We also want to make sure that you continue to stream The Reckoning. There's been a lot of excitement around the album. It's streaming everywhere on all platforms. And then we want to make sure that in addition to these monthly meetings, these national meetings, you're engaged with your regional group. That's where progress is happening, defense is developing, new learnings, new coalitions, resource sharing. It is a very, very rich and valuable space. The times are noted here, and you'll hear more from our regional leaders regarding an invitation if you're not participating already. I also just want to send support and well wishes to all of our leaders that are participating in Congressional Black Caucus this year. I know that Sister Davita will be if she's not there already. Sister Elisa will be if she's not there already. In fact, she is there already, and others will be there. And we look forward to you sharing in your regional groups any feedback that you have from Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who will be holding an invitation-only briefing tomorrow. And there will be other activities around the reparations space. I believe that our dear sister Dreeshen Hirsch will be leading conversations and possibly even action. So if you're not following Dreeshen, please make it your business to follow her leadership as well around the matters of HR 40 and reparations in Congress. So I think that is it for First Repair announcements. For those that are locally in the Chicagoland, Evanston area, please do sign up for our newsletter if you're not already signed up. We have really special events. Last month, we had a fireside chat with Craig Hodges and Johannes LaCour. This coming week, actually, we have an open house, and of course, our library is open for folks to check out books. So I'm going to pause there and see if any of our partners have remarks or updates to share. Is Linda Mann or the representative from ICTJ? Is Shakira on the call?
I am on the call.
Hey, Shakira, thank you for being here. If you want to introduce yourself to everyone, everyone may not know you wear many hats. So if you could just share your role and any other updates that you have.
Um, Hi, my name is Shakira Irvin. I am a movement lawyer working in reparations. She said, I wear many hats. I am the legal and policy director for African American Redress Network. I also work with Nikichi Taifa at the Reparations Education Project. I also work with the Thurgood Marshall Civil Rights Center at Howard University School of Law, and also working with a new organization, Liftoff Order 15, which seeks to prepare the way for a federal reparations study when we get to that point where HR 40 is passed. So I don't know if there's any other information that I should be sharing.
No, only you would know. So in the future, if you want to come with any updates from your org, this is the space to do that. I see that Cam has joined us. Cam, I'm really happy you're here. And we want to continue if long as you have updates on the work that you're doing around operational unity and your slavery disclosure piece and anything else that you would like to update on behalf of Reparations United.
Thank you, Robin. Greatly appreciate it, and greetings all. I do have 3 announcements. None of them are related to the topics you just raised, but the first one is Open Democracy, which is a London-based global media platform whose goal is to challenge and encourage democratic debate worldwide. They published an article of mine entitled, well, I submitted it as Reparations, Public Safety, and to Intentional Building of the Black Family, which looks at guaranteed basic income to Black young adults and a way to increase their participation in the formal economy, which has a purpose of ending the school to prison pipeline and our children being neglected in ways that doesn't allow them to reach their full potential. But anyway, they changed the title. I'll put the link in the chat if you want to read that. It's a very good piece that they've done. It's the 4th part of a 5-part series they're doing around guaranteed basic income. Richard Wallace of EAT also contributed and suggested that I put an entry in, and they reached out to me. So big ups to Richard Wallace. The second piece is our Federal Redress Advancement Network. We began our work targeting departments within the executive branch of the federal government. We're beginning with the Department of Labor, and we began by doing a historical audit of the crimes of the justice of the Department of Labor, I should say, on Black America. We crafted a pilot workforce retooling program for Black youth. Again, we want to rebuild the Black family. And in all of our initiatives, we include the return on investment of every dollar spent in the program. So we'll be starting that initiative like next week. Keenan Keller, former lead counsel of the Judiciary Committee, has joined us as our policy liaison officer. So we're happy to have him in DC. And if anybody knows anybody who has experience in any departments within the federal government, please connect us. The third initiative, and I'll end with this, is in response to the Justice Department's threats to Asheville, we have designed a 2-day intensive workshop for commissions and task force members entitled Directives When Crafting Reparations Remedies, a Comprehensive Framework. You can contact me if you'd like more information. If you're part of commission, you want more information. We want to be very proactive when it comes to the Justice Department, as well as these conservative groups who want to challenge our right to be repaired. And so this particular workshop intensive is for that purpose. And I'll be doing a 1-hour workshop at the symposium on the same topic. So I'll drop all this information in the chat. Thanks, Robin.
Thank you, Cam. Do we have any other partner updates? Okay, seeing none. Next on our agenda, we have our regional reports. And so we will hear from, in the following order, we'll actually put Jean-Pierre on the end because he's also our guest speaker. So we'll start with the South, Brother Jamoke, and then we'll move on to the Midwest, Brother Jeffrey Trask, and then lastly, before Jamoke, we'll have Davita Ingram from the West Coast. And if you all could unmute yourself and go in that order.
Did you say Davita before me or Davita before Chef?
Jamoke first.
Okay. Great. Good afternoon. Those, I guess it's still a good day early. So yes, our report from the South region is that first of all, we meet on the first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. We meet on the first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. This last month, I was excited to be able, as the South Region coordinator, to be able to visit Asheville and see firsthand the work that they've been doing there, go on several powerful tours. And yet it was while we were there, literally having a meeting with the chair of the Asheville Reparations Commission, that we got the word from the DOJ, or they got the word from the DOJ of them challenging their reparations recommendations. And so we are connecting them with our legal team of reparations movement active lawyers to assist them in along those lines. And I'm sure what Cam is putting together will also be of assistance to them, could be of assistance to them as well. Tonight, we're actually having our the Atlanta Reparations Study Commission. We haven't even been totally official yet, sworn in and all that, but we went ahead, took some initiative to organize a community forum on reparations, which will be this evening in Atlanta, starting at 5 o'clock. We'll also have public comment, and we'll have the co-editors of the book, Reparations and Reparatory Justice, Dr. V.P. Franklin and Sundiata Chachua, who are in town for the SALA conference, to be our keynote speakers at that event. And then rounding out this month on September the 30th will be the first meeting of the Decatur Reparations Task Force. And so they are moving forward with their work as well. So that's the report from the South region.
Thank you, Brother Jamoke. If we could have Brother Jeff Trask.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wonderful to see everyone today. Always pleasure to report what was going on in the Midwest. We meet every fourth Tuesday of each month at 1:30. And so I'll just run through some of our regional updates. In Wichita, Kansas, we had a event where Prophet was able to hand out a number of postcards thanks to First Repair, and had a lot of time with city officials to move the needle in Wichita, Kansas. In Minnesota, they're adding commissioners to their commission, 2 new ones, and they're also been working on the Enslavement Disclosure and Redress Act, and also got getting a resolution to receive a $100,000 donation from a local church there. So good news with them. In Evanston, Vanessa reported that there's over $6.4 million been dispersed to this point. They also have a reparations stakeholder authority that's responsible for administering another $1 million towards reparations that was mainly built from the faith community individuals. And First Pair also has their open house Sunday 3 to 5. So anybody in the local area want to check that out. Janae and Terry in Kansas City, they have the monthly meeting coming up featuring Sister Candace Henry within Cobra, be their guests. They're also still doing the solidarity walks. Next one being October 16th for Reverend Turner, commemorating the Million Man March. Also, Terry shared that the research team has started work in August, and they are putting together some information and helping them build their report. So things are progressing there. Also, Chicago, the task force is having had the third meeting. Actually, the third meeting is today, and then they're moving forward in the Chicago area. We're also working on the bill that Cam is working on, Miranda, HB 1227, and trying to keep that going in here in Illinois. Additionally, in Illinois, the State Reparations Commission is finalizing this harms report. The commissioners, we are reviewing it now, and we're editing and working on the building recommendations. One primary recommendation for each of the 11 harms has been primarily identified in the report. And then locally in Champaign-Urbana, we have $25,000 commitment from City of Urbana, the former Reparations Commission. We're making good progress also with the City of Champaign and the county board as well. And that sums up our Midwest area. And just a reminder to sign up for the symposium. Yeah, that was everything for our group. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And I see that Sister Christy Williams is here, and you weren't in the regional session, so your updates didn't make the report. Do you mind giving us a report as a chairwoman of the Tulsa Task Force and also Beyond Apology Leader?
Yes, thank you, Robin, and good to see everyone, and can't wait to see everyone December for the symposium. Our meetings in Tulsa are on the third Friday of each month at 1 p.m., and those meetings are live on the City of Tulsa website, and you can also go back and check them out as well. What we've been doing while we're still in the process, our mayor, Monroe Nichols, is still putting together our Greenwood Trust, and they are getting very close to that. They have an attorney that's been working on that. But in the meantime, what we've done as a commission, we have formed our committees. And so, as you know, the Beyond Apology report, where the community and descendants made recommendations. So we have committees out of those recommendations. One, of course, is housing that we modeled from Evanston. The other one is community and economic development and land. And then education, health and wellness, policy and systems change, and cultural identity. And the cultural identity piece is basically preserving our history, preserving the buildings and artifacts that we have left in Greenwood. And so we are actually opening up these committees for community members to serve on these committees. And we're definitely inviting the people who actually did the work to bring us here today and who made these recommendations. And so they will be working alongside us through this work. And so this is the process where we're at now. The committee, the commissioners who are on these committees have been charged with assignments and work. And so we'll have more coming on November 17th from that work, and our committees will be set by the end of November.
Thank you for that update. We're all excited to see the progress in Tulsa. Next, we have Sister Davita Ingram with the West Coast region.
Our West Coast, good afternoon, everybody. This West Region report is a little bit more brief. We canceled our meeting yesterday. If you happen to be from the West Region, you'll be able to check the chat and find our notes. And even if you aren't from the West Region, I'd encourage you to check it out because it has the update of all our conversations this year. One of the things that we did decide is that coming up in the session, we meet on the fourth Wednesday of the month. Our next session is October 22nd. And we decided, I want to say either in July or August, that when we got to October, that we would put our vision on what is our agenda for legislative session. So we're coming on October 22nd to kind of think about what are the strategies. Each of us lives in a unique community, and we'd be thinking about what strategies align everybody on the West Region and what things are different. So that's October 22nd, and that's the West Region report. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Davita. And last for our regional reports, we have Brother Attorney Jean-Pierre Brutus.
Thanks, Robin. And good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is well. in terms of my updates for the East / Mid-Atlantic region, first, we meet on the fourth Tuesday of every month at 5 o'clock. So it's usually the Tuesday before our national meetings, strategy sessions on Thursday. So just to give you a heads up if you want to join us, and hopefully you can. In terms of our updates, so in New York, the executive director, McKee Chisholm Straker, this is her last week, unfortunately. Then the commission will be looking for a new executive director. Hopefully they will start in January 2026, but it takes time with government procurement to hire someone new. The 40 acres in the EV, the sort of grad organization that was overseen by Senator Sanders with civil society groups, they put together a report led by Professor Thomas Kramer. That report is currently being copy edited and is almost in its final stages for editing to be sent to the senator's office and hopefully to the commission as well. The commission is on track apparently to release the report in 2027 of January. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. In Massachusetts, a key update is that they're having a statewide convening on October 8th. It will be virtual from 7 to 8:30 p.m. They're trying to get as many folks as possible for that. There is currently a bill to establish a statewide task force in Massachusetts, but it's in the Judiciary Committee. There has been no movement. Part of the convening is to try to get movement on that and build the coalition to push legislators to move that bill. The Boston Reparations Commission has met recently for a 4 to 6 hour meeting, updating folks to let them know that the research teams that they work with from different universities have almost completed all their research on their harms report. Also, Amherst is looking to organize a new commission to do additional work, and that's something they're going to discuss at the statewide committee meeting. Also, Pastor Robert Turner gave us some updates on what's going on in Maryland. They're trying to basically organize the votes to overturn Governor Westmore's veto of the State Reparations Task Force bill. There are some factions of folks who are attempting to support the governor and prevent legislators from changing their vote. So that's yet to play out. Hopefully, they're able to amass the support. Robert Turner has said that I believe on January on MLK Day, he will be marching to the governor's office, and he'll be sending out information about that to give folks a heads up and to folks who are joining him virtually. And in New Jersey, we are working with legislators to think about holding a hearing or a briefing for Legislative Black Caucus, and also to hold some town halls in churches around the state of New Jersey. And that's the updates I have for the East / Mid-Atlantic.
Thank you, Brother Jean-Pierre. And next, we're going to move into our presentation for the day. And I'll introduce Jean-Pierre. I'm sure most of us know him, but let's really take a moment to appreciate all that he does. Jean-Pierre Brutus is Senior Counsel in the Economic Justice Program at the New Jersey Institute for Social Justice. He leads the Institute's reparations advocacy. He was a member of the Reparations Narrative Lab and presented the Institute as a community fellow at the Rutgers Newark Crafting Democratic Futures Project on community dialogue on reparations. Prior to joining the Institute, Jean-Pierre worked at Legal Services New York City, where he represented Bronx tenants facing eviction as part of New York's Rights to Counsel program. Jean-Pierre is a graduate of Georgetown University. He earned his PhD in African American Studies and JD from Northwestern University. Jean-Pierre, thank you for being here and for your leadership.
Oh, I appreciate that, Robin, and thank you so much for having me today, and thanks so much for your support throughout this work. It's an honor to be here. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to share my screen. It's a presentation. Just to give you a heads up, this presentation, the slide deck, is one we use that we're using for all our general presentations on the report. And so there might be some information that I skip. I do want to give time for folks for Q&A, so I will stop around 2:15 Eastern, 1:15 Central, so you all can ask questions. I'm now going to share my screen, and we'll get into it. And I look forward to your questions, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the work that we do with the New Jersey Reparations Council and at the Institute, and the work we're going to be doing after the release of the report. So I'm excited. Let's see. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about this. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. I think um I'm going to sign in and on my other computer because this computer I don't have, unfortunately, administrative um access, so I can't allow Zoom access to my computer to share screen. So I'm gonna switch over and I'll make it easier. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about.
Robin, while he's doing that, can I put something in the chat?
I'm sorry, did you say, could you put something in the chat?
Yeah, just some information that we can look at later.
Oh, please do. Yeah, please do. Everyone feel free to share information in the chat.
All right, sorry about that, folks. We got new computers for work, and I'm not an administrator on my own computer, so I can't give Zoom access to that computer, but I can on this one. So let's get started. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
If I get a thumbs up or a yes.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. All right, so um, in 2023, the New Jersey for Social Justice, for those of you that may not be aware, we're an advocacy organization based in Newark, New Jersey. We're actually in our 26th year. We're led by President and CEO Ryan Higgood, and it's actually his birthday today. Ryan is a voting rights attorney and worked for the LDF during the Shelby County versus Holder case. And that was his area, and he's been at the Institute for 10 years now. And the reason why I bring that up is because during COVID, when folks were basically thinking about the impact of COVID on Black communities, Ryan was in a lot of Zoom meetings, and one of the things that folks kept on coming up with were sort of approaches to addressing the issues in Black communities in New Jersey through the prism of harm reduction, right? Thinking, how can we reduce the harm, right? This kind of tinkering around the edges approach. And Ryan was thinking to himself, why aren't folks thinking in terms of this kind of affirmative vision, this kind of alternative kind of vision, a bigger vision, right? Given the kinds of massive eruptions to life that COVID created and disproportionately on Black life, why are people trying to go to previous situation, which was the normal, in which there were significant racial inequalities already. Why are we trying to go back to that normal? Why are we trying to move forward? And so thinking about this kind of big affirmative project, part of that, Ryan was thinking about, reparations is a path to that. In November of 2019, the state of New Jersey introduced legislation to establish a task force in New Jersey. That bill went nowhere, even with the racial justice uprisings after the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. That bill did not move, in part because New Jersey is a kind of old school kind of politics. Some of the legislators in the New Jersey legislature, leaders, told Ryan that they felt uncomfortable with the term reparations, right? And they asked him, and they told leaders throughout the state, why can't you call the task force a racial wealth gap task force or a Black Lives Matter task force, anything but reparations? And so the Institute, we launched our Say the Word campaign, focusing on the word reparations, trying to get folks to focus on reparations. Unfortunately, we could not get the bill passed, or even a hearing on the task force. And so rather than wait for the legislature to do the right thing, we decided that we would launch our own task force, which we called the New Jersey Reparations Council. And so in June of 2023, in Perth Amboy, and the reason why Perth Amboy is because Perth Amboy is a major site, a major port for the trafficking of enslaved people in New Jersey, we launched the New Jersey Reparations Council with support from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And so on that day, which there are photos here, Mayor Ras Baraka, the son of Amiri Baraka, Senator Cory Booker, the mayor of Perth Amboy, our co-chairs, the historian Khalil Gibran Muhammad, as well as the historian Tajania Henderson, presented, as well as Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter, who is the chair of the Legislative Black Caucus in New Jersey and was a primary sponsor of the Reparations Task Force legislation. And so, and also with community leaders and community members, there's a tremendous amount of energy there in Perth Amboy. And so we launched the council, which is made up of 55 members. There are folks on that council who are academics and legal folks, historians and lawyers. We've got practitioners and heads of different organizations in New Jersey, including the heads of the NAACP, as well as the heads of the New Jersey Policy Perspective, of the ACLU. We also had the historian Zelia Alexander, the economist Derek Hamilton, who sits on the New York State Reparations Commission, as well as the head of the People's Organization for Progress, Larry Ham, who was the youngest delegate to the Black politics delegation in Gary, Indiana, in 1971, and is a friend of Amiri Baraka. So and so we worked, so basically the 55 members were divided up into 9 subcommittees. We had ranging from history of slavery in New Jersey, history of segregation in New Jersey and Jim Crow. We also had health equity. We also had environmental justice, criminal justice reform, democracy, environmental justice, faith and Black resistance. Also, we had our public education and narrative committee. We had 9 different committees studying a number of different issues in New Jersey. And the idea was that each of these committees would meet and study the issues with their expertise. And then they would also host what we called 9 virtual public sessions. And so the purpose of these sessions was to invite the general public to provide public comment about their thoughts on that particular subject matter area. These can be found on our YouTube website. So if you just look up at Do Social Justice on YouTube, or you go to our website, you can find the recordings of these virtual public sessions, and then also these committees presented to the general public. And then also at our website, njreparationscouncil.org. I'm going to put that in the chat. You can see the virtual sessions as well as the report itself, but I'll reference that again later. So Khalil Gibran Muhammad and Tajania Henderson, in the introduction of the report, for such a time as this, the nowness of reparations for Black people in New Jersey, and we are attentive to this current moment. Part of what they do in the introduction is basically lay out things that many of these folks, all of you know here in this room, what are reparations for the audience, the fact that we use the international standards, If you see on the right here, that's one of the plaques in New Jersey that commemorates enslavement in New Jersey. And then we also, in the introduction, give a kind of overview. So we talk about Queen Mother Moore and Cowley House. We also talk about some of the work that's happening nationally at the local, state, and federal level. We also talk about what's happened in California, what's been done in Evanston as examples. Right? We want to help contextualize what's going on in the rest of the nation to help folks ground where the council sits. And then one of the significant things about New Jersey is part of the work that we're trying to do is draw a through line between the harms of slavery, the harms of Jim Crow and segregation in New Jersey, and then contemporary racial harms in New Jersey. So one of the historians on our council, the community historian Elaine Buck, has called New Jersey the slave state of the North. And New Jersey has one of the highest, if not the highest, racial wealth gap in the nation. The Institute each year publishes the racial wealth gap data led by our colleague, Dr. Laura Sullivan. And since COVID, the racial wealth gap in New Jersey has doubled from over 300,000 to over 620,000, in part because of the impacts of COVID, also the increases in homeownership value for white families in New Jersey, and a decrease in homeownership for Black families in New Jersey. And so you have this massive, massive racial wealth gap in New Jersey. And as part of the report, one of the things that we wanted to be intentional about was all the images that we use for Black people was not images of Black people enslaved, but Black people living and doing living Black life. And so the first section of the report, the substantive section, is called New Jersey Slave State of the North, and it goes into slavery in New Jersey. So one of the key things that folks may not know about the extent of slavery in New Jersey, when New Jersey first started off as an English colony in 1664, the English provided white settling families 150 acres of land, and then an additional 150 acres of land for each enslaved person that they brought with them, many of them coming from Barbados at that time, after the English had fought the Dutch for control of New Jersey. By 1830, of the enslaved population in the northern states, 2/3 of them lived in New Jersey. The report we have a lot of graphic images for folks to sort of visualize the number of people in New Jersey. Historians of slavery in New Jersey have called New Jersey a slave society, not just a society with slaves or enslaved people, because of how key enslavement was to New Jersey. In fact, slavery was so key, so you can see here that New Jersey only abolished slavery after or ratified the 13th Amendment after the last northern state to abolish the 13th Amendment after it had been ratified by Congress. New Jersey was late to the game because it was so committed to slavery. Here you can see the population of New Jersey. One of the things that's starting to kind of misrepresents in some ways this graphic is that New Jersey, like many other states in the North and in countries in the Caribbean, try to institute something called gradual abolition. In some ways, that's a misnomer because New Jersey from 1806 to 1811 paid reparations actually to enslavers. So what New Jersey was meant to do was that when young Black people enslaved people were born, when they turned 18, they would be free, and they would pay the state money to free those children. Given the cost, New Jersey paid that from 1806 to 1811. In 1 year, that cost about a third of New Jersey's budget, almost basically bankrupting the state, and the state had to stop making those payments because it was so costly because of the value of how they value enslaved labor. And so if in the early 1800s, New Jersey could pay reparations to enslavers for the lost value of labor of their enslaved people, part of our argument is why can't New Jersey now work on reparations for Black people in the 21st century? And so we've got charts, in the report, we break it down for more information. Also, one of the things that we talk about in the report is Black resistance to enslavement. And so in places like Timbuktu, which were Black towns, enslaved people and free Black people would fight against basically the kidnappers of Black people from the South who would come as part of the Federal Fugitive Slave Act to try to kidnap and bring Black people back into enslavement in the South. New Jersey was the only state in the North to support the Federal Fugitive Slave Act, but you have Black resistance in which Black people took up arms, fought against these kidnappers and traffickers. Timbuktu being one of the principal sites of that. We also discussed the period of Jim Crow and segregation in New Jersey. Many Black activists call New Jersey the Georgia of the North because of the level of segregation in Jim Crow, New Jersey, both the violence that underpinned it, but also the policies and the practices from the state government and from local governments. So we focus on places like in the south of New Jersey, like Asbury Park. We have examples of racial covenants, racially restrictive covenants, as well as redlining. We have the maps of places like Atlantic City, where basically Black people were barred from using certain beaches, and you had separate and unequal facilities, just like in the South. And we lay this out all in the report itself. Then we move on to contemporary New Jersey, which we call the two New Jerseys. We start off with a story about MLK and his experience in New Jersey facing racism, and MLK's visit to Newark, but also MLK when he was a young man going to Maple Shade, New Jersey, and going to a bar being denied. He and his service, Walter McCall, being denied service after they went to church, and his attempt to basically start a civil rights case against this bar. We have plenty of data and information in the report as part of the harms report, including the individual racial wealth gap. We also have life expectancy rates. We focus on things like maternal mortality for Black women, infant mortality as well, life expectancy, and the effects of racism, racism on the lives of Black people. Median household income. We have all this data as well in the report. And then also the Black people being shot by police and subject to police violence and state violence. And then we also have an important report chapter in which Robin had mentioned earlier Dreesen Heath. Dreesen Heath was also a member of our council and member of our public education and narrative committee. And one of the key things about this is that in this particular section, this group of folks looked at the kinds of stories and the reports and the way in which New Jersey represents itself as a state in relation to its history of slavery in New Jersey. And what we found and what the report finds is that New Jersey kind of tells a story in which it sort of absolves itself of its relationship to slavery in New Jersey. It tells a story that slavery in New Jersey was not as bad as the South, not as violent, not as dependent on the economic and political and cultural and social elements of New Jersey. It tries to distance itself from slavery or tries to downplay it. And the purpose of this section is to show and reveal the ways in which the government of New Jersey, as well as leading historians, played into this, and the work that needs to be done to sort of shift the narrative about slavery in New Jersey. We also did a survey with the Eagleton Institute at Rutgers University, in which we found that 56% of people in New Jersey don't know that slavery happened in New Jersey, even though there was an homicide commission in New Jersey, like in New York, which was meant to establish in the curriculum this study of slavery as part of and racism as part of the curriculum. That has not been properly implemented. That's one of the recommendations that we make. Marion Thompson Wright is one of the leading historians of slavery in New Jersey. Without her work, our report could not be possible, nor could the contemporary work on slavery in New Jersey be possible. It's due to her pioneering work, along with Clement Price and some other historians, that this research was able to be done, and we are heavily indebted to her and her work. And she points out the kind of hypocrisy that New Jersey is steeped in terms of its denial of the role of the impact of slavery on it as a state. And so on June of this past year, on Juneteenth, we released a report along with our close to 100 policy recommendations. And the purpose of these recommendations is to address reparations and to repair the harms in all the different areas that we identified. And so we've got close to 100 recommendations. In each of the recommendations, we give an explanation of why we make the recommendation. We've got a lot of race-conscious remedies. We've got even some universal ones as well. things that folks are familiar with, like direct cash payments for different kinds of harms, but also more structural change. And what is guiding us is how do we build a New Jersey where Black people can flourish, where Black people can win, is our guiding principle. And so these are some of the members of the council discussing the interim report. And then these are some, as I mentioned, some of our recommendations. For example, having a state level 14th Amendment to have race conscious policies, ending the 13th Amendment loophole at the federal government level for allowing for enslaved labor. Direct payments, as I mentioned before, guaranteed income. We also want a Center for Black Health, also addressing Black maternal mortality. We also want to address things like segregation in New Jersey, changing the zoning laws, as well as the education. We also want to address the public safety and justice, which is oversight of policing and ending youth incarceration. And so investing in communities and not in incarceration. So we want to shift the way in which we fund and and also limiting the remit of the police so that police have less interactions with Black people throughout the state of New Jersey. And let's see. So, our next steps now are to organize, organize, and organize. And so we're taking the report off the shelves and into the streets. We're going to hold a lot of community events. We're going to be expanding our coalition. That's our next steps. We have a new community organizer. We're going to be hiring an additional community organizer. And one of the things we want to do is make sure we engage the communities around New Jersey, including places like Whitesboro, which is one of the longest standing Black communities in New Jersey and existed during enslavement. As well as other communities up and down the state of New Jersey, including Newark and Trenton, Camden, and all over the state. And so that's the project that we're on right now. And so we're trying to getting strategies for building power, public education narrative. We're going to be creating animated explainer videos based on the report, expanding our coalition. We'll also be engaging with legislators as well and doing direct action. So we got a whole plan laid out, and we're in the process of we're in the early steps of doing that right now as we speak, and we're excited about that. And that's what we're doing. So we want to take this report for such time as this, which we're aware of the current moment, the attacks on CRT, the attacks on basically our multiracial democracy, and providing an alternative, affirmative vision for Black life. And thinking about reparations not just about as accounting for the past, but as a future-oriented project. So that's the end. I want to give opportunity for folks to ask questions, and I appreciate you all.